Welcome to Statute Stories. If you're looking to understand the law in a fun and engaging way, then you are at the right place. In this video, we will discuss sections 86 to 95 of the Pakistan Penal Code, PPC. So let's get started. Section 86. Intoxicated intent. Accountability for actions while under the influence. This rule means that if someone commits an act that requires a specific intent or knowledge to be a crime, and he does it while intoxicated, he will be treated as if he had the same intent or knowledge as he would if he was sober, unless he were intoxicated without his knowledge or against his will. Example, intentional theft. Imagine a man drinks a lot of alcohol voluntarily and then steals a car. Even though he was drunk, he will be held responsible for the theft as if he were sober, because the crime requires the intent to steal, and he chose to become intoxicated. Section 87. Legal protections for unintended harm by consent. This rule means that if you do something with the consent of another adult, 18 years or older, and you don't intend to cause serious injury or death, nor do you believe it will cause serious injury or death, you won't be charged with a crime if it unintentionally causes harm. Example, contact sports. Imagine two adults agreeing to play a game of rugby, a contact sport. During the game, one player tackles the other, and the tackled player gets hurt. Because both players agreed to play, and the person who did the tackle didn't intend or expect to cause serious harm, he won't be held legally responsible for the injury. Section 88. Good Intentions Act for benefit with consent. This section means that if you do something to help someone and he agrees, you won't be charged with a crime even if it accidentally causes harm, as long as you didn't intend to cause death. Example, medical treatment. Imagine a doctor performing a risky surgery to save a patient's life. The patient understands the risks and agrees to the surgery. If complications arise and the patient is harmed, the doctor won't be held responsible because the action was intended to benefit the patient, done in good faith, and with the patient's consent. Section 89. Act done in good faith for the benefit of a child or insane person, by consent of guardian. This section means that if you act to help a child under 12 or a person of unsound mind, with the permission of their guardian or caretaker, you won't be charged with a crime if your actions unintentionally cause harm, as long as you acted in good faith. Example 1. Medical treatment for a child. Imagine a doctor needs to give a young child a painful injection to prevent a serious illness. The child's parent consents to the treatment. If the injection causes temporary pain or minor harm, the doctor won't be held liable because they acted in good faith for the child's benefit, with the guardian's permission. Example 2. Emergency care for a person with mental illness. Suppose a caretaker decides to restrain a person with severe mental illness to prevent them from harming themselves during a violent episode of electric shocks. If the restraint causes minor injuries, the caretaker won't be held responsible because the action was intended to help, done in good faith, and the guardian or responsible party implicitly or explicitly consented to such measures. Specific exceptions, where the legal protection for actions taken in good faith for the benefit of a child under 12 or a person of unsound mind does not apply. 1. No intentional death. Example, a doctor cannot perform a mercy killing on a terminally ill child, even with the guardian's consent. 2. No actions known to cause death. Example, a risky surgery that might cause death is allowed if it's the only way to save the person's life, but not for other purposes. 3. No voluntary cause harm, except in certain cases. Example, a caretaker can cause harm to a person of unsound mind to prevent him from hurting himself, but not to punish him. 4. No encouraging crimes. Example, a guardian cannot tell someone to harm a person under his care and then claim he was acting in good faith. Section 90. True consent. Legal boundaries for valid permission. This rule explains situations where consent is not considered valid under the law. Consent must be given freely and with full understanding. Example, if someone agrees to sign a contract because he is threatened or because he was told false information about what he is signing, that consent doesn't count. Or consent of insane person. Example, if a man with severe mental illness agrees to sell his property without understanding the consequences, that consent is invalid. Consent of a child. Example, a 10-year-old cannot legally agree to work in a factory, even if he says he wants to, because he is too young to give valid consent. Section 91. Independent offenses. When harm exceptions don't apply. This section means that the legal exceptions allowing certain harmful acts, as discussed in sections 87, 88, and 89, but do not apply to actions that are crimes and already illegal, even if harm occurs or not. Illustration. Causing miscarriage, unless caused in good faith to save the life of the woman, is an offense independently, and the consent of the woman or her guardian to the cause of such miscarriage does not justify the act. Section 92. Emergency actions for unconsented beneficial acts. This rule means that if you act in good faith to help someone and it causes him harm, you won't be charged with a crime, even if he didn't consent, as long as it was impossible for him to give consent or he was incapable of giving consent and there was no guardian available to consent on his behalf. Example, medical emergency. Imagine a person collapsing in a public place, unconscious and in need of immediate medical attention. A passerby performs CPR to save his life. Even if the CPR causes some injury, the passerby won't be held responsible because he acted in good faith to help when it was impossible to get the person's consent. Exceptions. 1. No intentional death. Example, a doctor cannot perform a mercy killing on a terminally ill child, even with the guardian's consent. 2. No actions known to cause death. Example, a risky surgery that might cause death is allowed if it's the only way to save the person's life, but not for other purposes. 3. No voluntary cause harm, except in certain cases. Example, a caretaker can cause harm to a person of unsound mind to prevent him from hurting himself, but not to punish him. 4. No encouraging crimes. Example, a guardian cannot tell someone to harm a person under his care and then claim he was acting in good faith. Section 93. Legal protection for good faith communications. This section means that if you say something to someone honestly and with good intentions to help him, you won't be charged with a crime even if your words unintentionally cause him harm. Example, friend's concern. Suppose a friend tells another friend that her partner might be cheating, based on genuine concern and evidence. If the friend feels hurt or angry, the first friend is protected from legal consequences because the communication was made in good faith to benefit her. Section 94. Act to which a person is compelled by threats. This rule means that if someone forces you to commit a crime by threatening you with immediate death, you won't be charged with that crime, except in cases of murder or crimes against the state which are punishable by death. For example, robbery under threat. Imagine someone holding a gun to your head and forcing you to rob a store. If you believe you will be shot if you refuse, you won't be charged with robbery because you acted under immediate threat of death. Section 95. Act causing slight harm. This means that if you do something that causes only a very minor injury or harm, you won't be charged with a crime, as long as the harm is so slight that a reasonable person wouldn't be upset about it. Examples, playful tap. Suppose you give a friend a light tap on the shoulder while joking around and he is not hurt. A reasonable person wouldn't complain about such a small action, so it's not considered an offense. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and comment. Follow for more videos. Take care. See you soon.